In today's video, we're going to be taking a long-range look at our CFS model. It's been probably over a week since we've taken a look at this model, so we're going to really dive into it, see what it's coming up with on our 5-day increment temperature pattern all the way through mid-January, and we'll even take a look at the monthly outlook to get us all the way through the winter in just a moment. So let's go ahead and take a look here at the 5-day increments like I was talking about. Even the 2nd through the 7th isn't looking quite that warm when you take a look at a whole picture of it here for portions like the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and even up through the Northeast. It's not looking too bad. It's mostly the Southeast and South Central here where a lot of this ridging is going to be occurring consistently day over day. Now out west, we do have a negative PNA here, which basically just means negative temperatures in the Pacific North American areas. PNA stands for Pacific North American, negative being below normal, positive being above normal. So that's an easy way to remember there. Now, as we just move on here, we'll actually just take a look at the 5th through the 10th and go in actual 5-day increments here. We get a little bit more of a southeast ridge showing up here by this time frame, the 5th through the 10th. Now, it's impossible to know if this is mostly the 5th through the 7th or if it's the 7th through the 10th here according to this model because we only get 5-day increments. So I can't tell you for sure. But that could certainly be the case that it's only about half of it that we're seeing this occur. We do see that there is some very deep Arctic air really just setting over our north central United States. We see it for the upper Midwest and portions of the Great Lakes as well. So we're seeing a few different areas dealing with this, and still I would say we have a negative PNA up here. That's what I would say. Now the 10th through the 15th gets a lot more interesting for the east. We see a lot of this Arctic air mass is now sitting over the eastern United States here, particularly the mid-Atlantic and northeast here. Definitely some snowfall opportunities, I would say, during this time frame. The temperatures, at least, would support it. We see our Pacific North American oscillation is still in its negative phase here, according to this model. Now, the 15th through the 20th, we get some deeper cold here for a lot of our areas in the United States, actually, but a lot of the upper Midwest here, or I guess the northern plains there, the upper Midwest, the Great Lakes, down through the south central United States, and even into the mid-Atlantic and northeast here, even some of the southeast, seeing some of this below normal temperatures. Your greens are going to be colder than your blues, and then your purples up there in the greens are going to be colder than the greens or the blues. So keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and move on to the 20th through the 25th, our Christmas time period, and it gets even colder here. So we see a lot of just far below normal temperatures able to make their way down to the south central and the eastern United States. As far as a wintry December, it has all the ingredients there, and I've even heard it thrown around with people with far more experience than me, I will say. They've been saying that this is basically some of the best setups they've ever seen for a December, and maybe even for a winter month in general. Just all the teleconnections looking on point. Now, potential doesn't equal results. We all know this, but it certainly does have the potential. So we will see if it gets the results. Now, we're going to obviously go over this every single day and just track this as it now is December 1st. So it's very fitting to make this video today. So be sure to subscribe, tune in with us daily because we do upload every single day. Let's move this towards the 25th through even the 30th of December, and we get even colder here, okay? So your blues, the lighter blues that we see over here for the Rockies and everywhere else around the green, that's going to be 1 to about 10 degrees below normal. Okay, so take your normal temperature for this time of year. In Virginia, it's going to be 50s, lower 50s. So if you're this isn't in Virginia, the blue is not in Virginia on this frame, but let's say your average temperature is 50. You're looking at basically 40s, at least maybe even 40 degrees even at 10 degrees below normal. Well, your greens are 10 to 15 degrees below normal. So again, you take it even further. But those purples within the greens is where things get extra cold. That's 15 to 25 degrees below normal. Certainly going to be a very far departure from what's typical here in a lot of these areas in these colors. Now, this is a very long-range outlook, so we are taking it with a grain of salt, but certainly interesting to see here. Now, as we take this from the 31st of December through the 5th of January, we see a little bit more mild weather developing out here in the southwest of the United States, potentially indicating that a little bit more of a positive PNA is taking place. It looks like the cold is really curving around this area and entering into these pockets here where it's still just looking extremely cold during this time frame. And as we keep going here, the 5th through the 10th of January, still cold in the east according to this model, just as cold, if not colder. And then we get a little bit less cold here for the 10th through the 15th of January, but there still is plenty of far below normal temperatures. It's just not quite as far below normal. Now, the interesting thing is that we do see even warmer temperatures moving into the west here. Again, reinforcing that idea that we might have a positive PNA coming in the kind of medium to long range at some point. This model's been kind of trending warmer with that western region over time. So very, very interesting stuff here. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at our monthly forecast. So this is December according to this model, and it is kind of different because this is our CFS monthly model, and that one was the more of your weekly CFS model. So it's a completely different model because you'll notice that this is actually looking different than that one. So it is just a completely different model, like I mentioned. We do see plenty of cold up here, but we can see that there's a big southeast ridge according to this model. We really don't see this on the weekly model quite as much as we see it here, but this would really, I want to tell you about what this would cause. We'd probably see a lot of storms doing this deal right here across the nation. That type of a track I could see a lot. Also, clippers would be probably pretty common, and maybe even just some starting here in the south central United States and moving around that ridge. But this would mean plenty of snow up here. I would say maybe even you could make it a little bit more exclusive for these regions here. That would be my pocket to watch in this type of a pattern according to this model. And this would really be the area that you'd watch for just like really difficult to see any snow. And then obviously for our mountainous regions out west and our north central regions, either way, they're going to see snow regardless of what kind of pattern we're in. Now, January doesn't look too different according to this model. We do see a little bit of some deeper cold here for the north central, the northwest, and the northeast here. So we see that. We also still see this southeast ridge really taking a hold, which again would probably mean that storm track is going to do this, not this. It's not going to move through that region very often. Probably moving above that ridge is going to be the more common track in that type of a pattern. If this does occur, because it doesn't really have the support of its weekly model, we're basically seeing it only on this monthly model. So only time we'll really be able to tell what happens here. And then February here, this one is looking a little bit more promising, I will say, because we get the positive PNA developing here. You can clearly see that there. And then we get deep cold entering into the central and eastern United States, the entirety of the eastern and central United States here, which probably makes a lot of people happy. And this would probably be the best month for like actual Miller A nor'easters to occur, which is these ones that move up the coast. That would be your best chance at East Coast snowstorms. So this pocket to see some snowfall would be a temperature pattern quite like this. Now, March, the cold kind of lifts off. We get that southeast ridge trying to move in again, perhaps a sign that this area could have an early spring developing. We do see that PNA looking more negative rather than positive, and a lot of this cold is lifted off into northern regions of the East Coast, maybe even up into Canada primarily, as opposed to the United States. And that's kind of where we leave things off here on the long range outlook. I did tell you guys I'd be doing these about once a week, and I do plan on doing that. So be sure to like the video to let me know you guys still enjoy these types of videos. Again, subscribe, as we do upload every single day, and we will really get to the bottom of everything pertaining to the upcoming pattern as far as all the weather is concerned. You can even hit that bell icon to get daily notifications as well, by the way. Like the video if you did enjoy it. Leave a comment down below, and I will see you guys in the next video.